Welcome back. The Wisconsin son, convicted of murdering and dismembering his parents, is in court today. He's expected to be in court today, this afternoon, to find out the sentence that will be handed down for his crime. A jury convicted Chandler Halderson in January. The defense asked the judge in this case if Halderson could waive his appearance this afternoon. The judge denied that motion, saying that by allowing him to skip it, this could cause issues on appeal. His sentencing hearing is set for 2:30 Eastern this afternoon. Court TV legal correspondent Joy Lim Nakrin takes a look back at the Halderson trial.
Jurors took about 2 hours to find Chandler Halderson guilty of murdering his parents.
Mr. H., are those the verdicts with which you agreed?
Yes, they are.
The jury convicted him of all charges related to the deaths of Bart and Krista Halderson. They were dismembered. Bart's torso discovered in this wooded area.
And the next witness, please.
Prosecutors called 67 witnesses over 8 days. Defense attorneys called no witnesses, and Chandler Halderson elected to remain silent.
Have you made a decision as to whether or not you will testify?
I have.
What is that decision?
I will not.
Defense attorneys urged jurors to acquit their client of first-degree intentional homicide, arguing the evidence still left many questions unanswered.
Do you know how Bart was killed? Exactly how he was killed. Do you know how Krista was killed? Do you know if it was an awful accident? Do you know if it was intentional? Do you know if there was someone else involved? You don't. And that's a problem.
But that argument failed to resonate against overwhelming evidence pointing to the defendant.
Bart Halderson and Krista Halderson had their heads chopped off, had their arms and legs removed. That was an awful accident.
A consistent theme throughout the state's case was the web of lies Chandler Halderson concocted before and after he killed his parents.
And what was left was this shell of a person who made this nonsense up, who built himself up to be a tech employee, rescue scuba diving guy, who's going to college. He never had a job. He had two options: own up to his lies, stand up and finally tell the truth for once, or like a coward, shoot your father in the back. And that's exactly what happened.
While the question of who killed the Haldersons is solved, those who were close to them struggle with why.
What kind of parents were Bart and Krista?
Amazing.
What do you mean by that?
They never really got angry.
All right, let's return to our guest, trial attorney, former prosecutor Imran Ansari in New York, and criminal defense attorney Lauren Stuckert in Milwaukee. Imran, this motion for the defendant not to be at sentencing, I'm sure he doesn't want to be there, who wants to listen to family members and a judge basically confront you. But legally, the judge said, no, you have to be here for a number of reasons, specifically the appellate process. Have you ever seen a judge allow a defendant not to be present during a sentencing hearing?
Yeah, personally, I have never seen that happen. And in fact, in my experience, the defendant, although here, it would be hard to mitigate any sentence, that would be handed down here, and it's mandatory life imprisonment with a possibility of parole. I don't think he's going to get possibility of parole from the judge in this case, given the nature and circumstances of the crimes for which he has been convicted. But I have not seen a defendant being excused from a sentencing when there is an opportunity for a defendant to mitigate the sentence. Most often they want to give a statement to the court, show some remorse, show some respect to the court, respect to the family if it's a victim crime, and in an attempt to get some sort of mitigation of the sentence. So I have not seen that happen, and it didn't surprise me that the defense motion was denied by the judge in this case.
Lauren, you're in Milwaukee, a couple hours east of Madison there. The difference, or this case it's such a shocker that a son could do this to his parents, and the lies that he told that were exposed during the trial. What are you expecting to hear today at the sentence? And to Imran's point, this seems like a case where life without parole is going to be the sentence that's handed down at the end of the day. But, your thoughts?
Given just the heinous nature of these particular crimes, if I'm the judge in this case, I'm going to find it very difficult to allow this individual to have an opportunity to re-enter society. So I would be surprised if parole was granted. With regard to, this appearance issue, it's quite rare. I haven't personally seen it. There's reasons for it in the circumstance where an individual is suffering from a terrible health condition that makes it difficult for him to be present. My thoughts are most likely it's maybe a situation where this man has just thrown in the towel. He doesn't want to deal with it. Who knows the extent of the psychological trauma and barriers that this man has implanted in his own mind as it relates to the crimes that he committed. There's many reasons why I can see he wouldn't want to be present at that hearing. At the same time, for the public to, see how important the criminal justice system is and to have some sort of closure on this case, it is important that he's present and that he is there to hear this judge send down the sentence.
Imran, there's so much evidence in this case. Physical evidence. I don't see a way that this kid is ever going to be successful in an appellate scenario. If you're representing him, are you urging him to get up there and say, I'm sorry, in the just slight chance that it might move the judge, it might make a difference, or no, do you have to make sure? And by the way, the big case that we have seen where a defendant wasn't there was, of course, Robert Durst. He literally died, a couple months later. So he absolutely, that was obvious. But what about that, Imran? What would you do in terms of if you were representing or consulting Chandler Halderson?
Yeah, no, it's just a horrific set of facts here. And how do you confront that at the sentencing phase? If he makes some sort of, a statement in court after you hear all those victim impact statements, will it do him more harm than good? People like to see, or they expect to see, a defendant somehow be remorseful if there's a conviction. The judge, usually a judge would like to see that. But this is a particularly heinous crime where getting up there and apologizing may do more harm than good, just in terms of the optics of things, given the nature of what he did to his parents. So counseling him, if I was his defense attorney, I would, of course, give him the option if he really wished to do so, because I really don't think there's any getting around here. The max sentence, and that would be life without parole. But if he wished to make a statement, of course, I would listen to what he had to say. If it was going to be something that is going to be harmful to him, harmful to any possible, appellate process down the line, if there's even a chance of successful appeal, given the weight of evidence that has come in at trial, it would be a real analysis of what he was going to say. But ultimately, I don't think anything this individual could say at this point could change the minds of anyone as to the sentence, the conviction, his guilt, and the heinous nature of the crimes.
Yeah, well said. We'll wait and see if he does say anything. We'll wait and see who shows up to say something to him. That taking place again at 2:30 Eastern Time, and our team is there in Madison, Wisconsin.